Quick correction, the proportion of illiterate men was 45 over 234, which is 19.2%, a little bit higher. So the observed difference of illiterate men minus the proportion of illiterate women is 2.5%. Is that enough to suggest that in general, is there a claim that men are more illiterate than women? If I were calculating this by hand, we did this in class, we would have to pool the two samples together and calculate the standard error of the pooled data observed difference, and then find the z-score using the observed difference between the two sample stats minus 0, because that's what the model is suggesting, that they are equal, divided by the standard error of the pooled data. Instead, today I would like to calculate that by the calculator. So we're going to go under test, choice 6. The sample of men that are illiterate is 45 out of 234. The sample of women that are illiterate is 42 out of a sample of 251. And we claimed in the alternate hypothesis that the proportion of men is greater than the proportion of illiterate women. We'll calculate the z-score and p-value. We got a z-score of 0.716. That's well above average. And that gives us a p-value of 23.6. With a p-value so high, above the 5% standard, 23% is higher than 5%, we fail to reject the null hypothesis. Let's explain what the p-value means. If the null hypothesis were true, meaning if the proportion of illiterate men and illiterate women were equal, we could expect to find this observed difference of 2.3%, the observed difference of 2.5%, 23% of the time. That's a lot. That could definitely happen randomly. We do not have enough evidence to suggest that the proportion of illiterate men is greater than the proportion of illiterate women. Now let's try this on the next problem.